You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this special presentation of the Take It Stub. This is Dick here. I wanted to kind of let you guys know what we're trying to do with the special presentations of interviews and things like that. Unfortunately, we can't fit all of our cool interviews onto our 1 hour podcast that we do live in the studio on Thursdays at noon at irlonestar.com. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to churn these out and just kind of periodically release them through our podcast network on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and then, of course, on YouTube. So I want to remind you, if you haven't already, to make sure to subscribe, because you won't hear these interviews on the show live on irlonestar.com. You only hear it through our podcast network and, of course, our YouTube channel. So just want to remind you guys, I hope you enjoy this interview, and we'll get to it right now.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Welcome to this special edition of the Take It Stub. Yes, I am one of your hosts, Chris Appel. Alongside of me in the studio here is Dick.
Hey, this is a strange thing on a Saturday morning.
It is, yeah.
But my favorite part so far is Connor didn't know about this. And then he goes...
Well, he says he didn't know, but he did.
he's totally BSing. The dude, if you follow him on any social media, he's always doing something other than the ticket stub.
Yeah.
So this is me calling him out right now. You don't have to lie to us, man. You just don't... You can be the third wheel to the show. The weakest link. You can be that person. We need the weakest link.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, because I hold the dude. So
That's true, yeah. You have the golden dude.
I have the golden dude, so
Yeah.
we're good.
And, yeah, I don't know. He's a good host, though. He's better than me.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, we all have our strengths and weaknesses,
I know.
Chris. We're a good team.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is I do here, but...
You bring the polish.
Oh, okay.
You make us shine.
Yeah, okay.
How about that?
Well, whatever. That's fine.
But so, just to let people know who are listening right now, this is a special edition on our podcast, on iTunes and Google Play, and then YouTube, because we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
So this is all about the guests. We won't play games. We won't be giving away tickets. We won't be doing their normal ticket stub, noon o'clock on Thursday kind of stuff. We're doing an interview. So who are we interviewing today?
Well, we have today an actor,
An actor.
an improvisational comedian, a stand-up comic, and one time I made him sing in front of an audience, and it turned out pretty good.
Now, what's a pretty good thing with an audience? They clapped or they danced or what's good?
Well, the
Never
audience
mind.
did not dance.
So it's not that good.
No, they clapped. No, it was good. They clapped.
So he's captivating.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Brad Bishop is here. Brad, can you hear us?
Hi, everybody. I can hear you just fine, Chris.
Well,
I should
Brad,
point out that
yes.
I'm not a singer, but I got away with it by singing in a very bad British accent,
Okay.
and everybody just kind of went along with it.
What are we singing here?
It was a musical review of Les Miserables.
Oh, wow. That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
I can't even pronounce
I was
that.
the innkeeper.
Yeah, he was the
Thenardier.
innkeeper. Yeah, he did good.
So, give me a little history, if you don't mind, Chris. How do we know Brad and all that kind of
Well,
stuff?
Brad is a very, very dear friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, from the 90s.
Yeah, we
Which
met
doesn't
in high
sound...
school.
Yeah, it sounds like a long time ago. Well, I guess it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's where I know him from, and he is joining us from sunny Los Angeles, California. Are you staying out of the mud?
Yes, I'm safe from the mud and the fires.
Okay. Anywhere near you?
Yeah. There were some fires and some mud in Burbank recently, but I'm not near the mountains and the wooded areas, so I'm pretty safe.
Well, that's good. So,
He's near the porn area.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what
We've established that.
Yeah, he brought to our attention. It's a North Hollywood thing, and that's an LA joke that I didn't get, but now I do. So if anybody says North Hollywood, I'll know what they're talking about. So it's like, hey man, you meet somebody on the street. Hey, take you back to North Hollywood. I'll say,
Is that your line, Brad?
no.
Take you to yeah, is that your line? Take you
Yes.
to North
I
Hollywood.
get slapped a lot.
Yeah. I bet it's interesting trying to call an Uber though. Why? Hey, come to North Hollywood. I don't know about that. Okay. Well,
So-
Brad.
Oh no, they love it. They fight to be the first one out here.
So it's just happening on the street. Okay, we're
They
way
hand
off
me
topic.
their headshot and their resume.
Yeah, headshot means a completely different thing over there, I heard. But
Oh, yeah.
so All right, we're way off topic here.
No, we're not. We're still talking about film.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, Brad isn't in the adult film
No,
industry.
no, he's not.
Just making sure people. Yeah, this is why we're doing it on Saturday morning, folks.
Yeah, because it's the only
We can
time he has
all
free.
breathe easier knowing
He's recharging.
I have nothing to do with that industry.
Yes.
A sigh of relief.
But so really, it's neat that you've known Chris for so long, because I've only known Chris for about 8 months, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And every show, I kid you not, Brad, I go down deeper and deeper into knowing who Chris is. And Chris, for some reason, I don't know if this is something he's done since you've known him. Does he ever say things that you can easily take out of context?
Oh, that's all Chris is.
Yeah, I feel like he should be a character in Arrested Development. And I'm like, did he just say that? Does he know what he's saying?
Yeah, my frontal lobes are shot, I think.
When Chris says that I do improv comedy, he knows that because he did improv comedy with me, and that's what
Yeah.
he was best at. It's just coming out there with a non sequitur line.
Well, my kind of deal was
destroying.
my deal was the less I knew about what was going on, the better for me.
Is that how your wife treats you, Chris?
Yeah.
I have to know that.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not privy to a lot of
that's wonderful.
a lot of what she's got going on.
But Chris has brought a lot to the show, and I'm really excited to have you here, Brad. And I saw some of the pictures and kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of like what you've done in the filmmaking business. So if you don't mind, for the audience, just kind of just say what you've done, and then turn that into how it got started. How about that?
Sure. Well, most of my work has either been as a creature actor or as a very background extra. I moved out to LA about 8 years ago, and right after I moved out to LA back in Mississippi, they started filming a monster movie. And Chris and my good friend Opie Cooper was directing, and he called me up. They needed somebody who was tall and lanky to fit into the monster costume. And he gave me the part. So that's how I got started in that industry, was kind of doing that. Also, not long after I moved out here, we filmed a book trailer for a book called Night of the Living Trekkies. And I got to play a zombie in that, so that was also some creature work that I did. And yeah, just some signed up for a company called Central Casting out here. They do a lot of background work. They send actors out to TV shows and movies to be the people you see who are sitting at a table in a restaurant, or you see their shoulder walk by the screen. That's me. So,
I wonder if they have awards for those kind of people.
Oh, I wish. We as the background extras would kind of give ourselves awards a lot of times. We would just make things up.
I mean, it is. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there is a craft to it, because I can't imagine directing somebody and it's like, hey, you people in the back, pretend you like each other and talk. Because if I don't know how to do that. I'd be like, oh, okay, smile and just like.
Well, you have to imagine if you're at like a rock concert and you've got 100 extras at this rock concert, and they're filming the actors doing dialogue. There's no music, because that would drown out the dialogue that they're trying to get for the actors. They add that in later. So all the background extras have to pretend like there's music going on and that they're dancing to the rock music and having a good time. So it is a lot of mime. They have to pretend. If you're at a restaurant, you have to be talking to someone but not actually talking to them. So you're just moving your mouth and making it look like you're talking. So there's a skill to it. And basically your one job is to not be noticed. That is the key. You don't want anybody to focus on you, and if you do, you get in big trouble.
I believe it. I mean, I imagine myself playing games like, let's play footsie while we're in this in this scene, and just to see what happens, and then to see if anyone notices. Or
there's a lot of coming up with backstory for yourself, just to pass the time. Like I worked on the movie Saving Mr. Banks, the Mary Poppins.
Okay,
movie.
yeah, with Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I filmed. This was the best gig. We filmed in Disneyland. So, I'm walking around. There's Tom Hanks. You're not allowed to talk to the stars. You're not allowed to go up to them.
So somebody literally came up to you and be like, "No,
do not."
No.
If you tried to get near him, if you tried to be, oh hey, Mr. Hanks, they would kick you off set.
Do not look Mr. Hanks in the eyes.
Yeah. So the movie takes place in the '60s. And I'm walking around with an actress I knew who happened to be black, and they paired us up, and we had done some auditions before, so we knew each other. So we're walking around, the park together. So we had our own backstory since it took place in the '60s. We were like, oh well, we're an interracial couple in the '60s. So if this movie wins an Academy Award, it's because of us.
Well, clearly,
You know,
clearly the political correctness is all over Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Don't you have an Emma Thompson story from that movie as well?
Yes. Yeah, at one point we were around the carousel, and I asked a PA where the water was, and he was like, he gave me these really long directions. You got to follow the cables, the camera cables, take a left at the dolly, and all these things. And so I followed his directions, and I looked over to the side, and I see Emma Thompson standing next to the water cooler. And I was like, oh, if you just said it was next to Emma Thompson, I would have found it pretty quickly.
I would immediately be like, I'm not allowed to talk to her, not allowed to touch her, and I can't even have water.
Not allowed to touch
Yeah,
her.
exactly. I had to wait for her to leave before I could go over there.
I think that would be a hilarious interaction. Like, ma'am, you're probably like 15 feet. Can you step away from the water? I'm not allowed to be near you, so I need you to go somewhere else.
Well, I had a friend, Courtney, Chris, you know her.
Yeah.
She was working on The Office, and she was a featured extra on The Office, which featured extra means that you can actually see their face. They may get a line, like they might be a barista at a coffee shop or something. But she was a pool player on The Office, so they were at some like fun zone place. They were all playing pool. And at one point, she was standing by the restrooms, and Steve Carell just kind of walks up to her and is like, hello. And so Courtney is freaking out, like, oh my God, Steve Carell's coming up to talk to me, but I'm not allowed to talk to him. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And she found out Steve Carell thought she was like a makeup person, because somebody had sent her over or sent him over towards her. She's like, oh, makeup's over there. Just talk to that girl.
Oh, wow.
So he was waiting for her to direct him where to go. And finally, another PA comes over. He's like, "Oh no, you can't be right here. We got to go." He shuffles Steve Carell away from Courtney to make sure that he doesn't interact with somebody.
Now, Brad's done some work with the Upright Citizens Brigade over in
yes.
L.A. You said you guessed?
Yes, I have. So for those of you that don't know, Upright Citizens Brigade is a comedy troupe. They mostly do improv, but they do stand-up and sketch as well. The most notable member of the troupe is Amy Poehler from Parks and Recreation and Saturday Night Live. She's one of the founders. There's also Ian Roberts, Matt Besser, and Matt Walsh. A lot of them you would recognize from their writing credits or their acting credits. Matt Walsh is on Veep.
Yeah, he's a great
like
character actor.
Oh, he's wonderful. I actually went into interview as an intern about a month ago, and Matt Walsh was just standing around, just in the building. I was too nervous to go up and talk to him. But, I do comedy there. I take classes. I'm in their advanced program. It's a lot of fun.
So you're also with a troupe called Goats as well, is that?
Yes, yeah. We're an indie improv troupe. We just perform around town. The nice thing about LA is there's no shortage of stages to jump up on. You don't get money, and you're mostly performing for the other improv teams that are there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great way to kind of build your chops up. They say, what is it, like 10,000 hours and you become an expert at something?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they say that.
No,
Like,
you shocked me. I'm shocked.
I don't know.
'cause-
I'm probably way off. That may 10,000 hours.
I think it's like
when you turn
10,000
90.
hours, but the fact that Chris is like, I've never done anything for 10,000 hours. Am I good at anything?
Yeah, that's kind of what went through my
You're
head.
good at being Chris.
Yes.
There you go.
But okay, so I want to talk about the creature makeup and stuff that you've done.
Yes.
So there's several things you've done.
Just to give people a heads up, I'm going to be moving the camera on Brad. I'm going to show the pictures while this is going on.
Okay, so in Big Bad, which is the movie where you played kind of the werewolf Bigfoot creature deal, I imagine that the process of even getting into something like that has got to be excruciating.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It helps if
Well,
you're
I'm
not
looking at a photo
claustrophobic.
right now, and your entire face is covered completely white in like some resin.
Yes, they had to make. I did a full body cast.
Okay.
So yeah, they got my chest, my legs, my arms, and my head. And one of the main things they asked me was like, "You're not claustrophobic, are you? Because you're going to be encased in this for a while."
Wow.
They had to put the plaster on me and wait for like, 15 to 30 minutes or so for it to dry and then take me out of it. But it was just kind of relaxing. I didn't have to do anything while they did that. Just sit still. They played a movie, which of course when I had the plaster on my face, I couldn't see or hear that well. But they just put me in like this spandex suit, so I felt like a superhero. And
So how?
we went through the process. It took about half a day to get all the molds
Oh
made.
wow.
Yeah.
To get in the costume, how long of a process was that?
It varied. The first night. So I should mention the man who made the costume was Tom Devlin. Fantastic.
Where
He
where
does
do
a
we
lot of
know
work
him? Yeah, where do we know him from?
He's done a lot of work for Trauma films, and like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
done some stuff for the Toxic Avenger and Puppet Master movies, things like that. He has a museum now. I think it's in Colorado. He has a horror monster museum. Great guy. His assistant Andrea was there helping out the whole time. So the first night it took probably about an hour and a half to get into the costume, because even though it was molded to fit my body, they had to put the powder to slip in easier so that if I got sweaty it wouldn't be so bad. The worst was the contacts. I am a baby when it comes to putting stuff in my eyes. I don't like getting drops. And these contacts were bigger than my eye. I mean, it was ridiculous. They looked awesome when they were in, but it probably took me 2 hours to get them in the first day.
Oh wow.
I am the one person who Tom has not been able to get the contacts in. He told me. So I take that with pride.
Yeah.
But we did get them in. We were able to finally get the contacts in, and it got easier as time went on. We learned how to be more efficient at it, and it would probably take us about 30 to 45 minutes each night to get the costume on.
So there's a lot of stunts in that movie. A lot
Yes.
of stunts, particularly.
What movie are we talking about?
We're talking
Why don't
about
This is Big Bad.
Big Bad is from 2016, and actually, y'all started filming that in like 2007 or something, and it just kind of
2010.
Oh,
I believe
10,
is when
okay.
we filmed it. Yeah.
so it took about 6 years to complete.
Yeah, they had a lot of work to do on special effects and adding the music and everything, and there were some reshoots that they had to do, and then it just takes a while to distribute a film when you're making it on your own.
Yeah.
They were trying to finance everything on their own. Opie Cooper and Rick Moore. So it takes a while. That's kind of how movie making goes. I mean, you see all the big budget movies; they come out quickly, but when you're trying to do it on your own, it can take a few years.
So was there a stunt double for you, or did you just do all of the stunts?
Yes, we had a stunt double.
Okay, because there's one scene.
At first, I was disappointed in, because I thought I was going to be doing all my stunts. I thought that was going to be a really cool thing. Thank God we had a stunt double. We had a stunt coordinator, Mark Riccardi, and my stunt double was Brian Height, who was awesome. So they had a special stunt suit for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a stunt man who has muscles.
Okay.
Unlike me. So his suit was a little looser fitting, they had made it so that he could get into it a little easier. He didn't take as much time. It was more of just a throw it on kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't worry about it because they weren't going to do close-up shots. So if it got ripped or something, they weren't as worried. So if you see anybody falling or running into a truck or something like that, it's him.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because there's a scene where I guess the monster, you as the monster, is like flying over the jail or something. I believe that's, you know what I'm talking about? It's in the trailer.
I think so. So they're in the jail cell. They're on like the second floor of this jail cell. And to set the movie up, it's a high school fundraiser that they're doing, where these kids have to stay in a jail cell for a certain amount of time, like overnight, to raise money. And that's, of course, when the monster attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, one of the kids is able to break his cell door down, and it falls on the monster. So it would fall on him, they would cut, and then I would come in and lay under. They would lift the gate up and lay it down on me gently.
Okay.
And then it would pick up with a close-up of me reaching for the kid slashing at him, trying to grab him. Then they knock him off of the second floor railing, and he falls and lands on a bunch of like plywood and breaks through the plywood. That's the stunt man.
Yeah. So
And then
go ahead.
the creature standing up from the plywood is me again.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
Yeah. So, gosh, and I totally forgot my question. I was gonna say, no. So creature movement. Who's like? Do you have any like influences with that? Because it's so physical and there's so much, artistic movement in a way to being a creature. I would assume. Do you take
Absolutely.
any influence from anyone?
Well, it's the suit itself lends itself to how you move. You have to learn the ins and outs of how the suit is. Opie, the director, had his own things that he wanted. So the feet and legs were made to look like a wolf leg. So there was the paw that was down kind of like this on the ground, but then the haunch of the leg moved up like this. So I was actually walking around on the ball of my foot, almost on tiptoe.
Wow.
So I would walk and run like that. So I had to kind of work on how the monster would stride. I had to make him look menacing and scary. So I would be hunched over with my knees bent, and I just practiced that for a couple weeks beforehand to make sure that I could get comfortable with it. And there's a lot of creature performers who you can watch and just kind of admire. Probably the most famous, and most people don't know these people, but they're incredible actors in their own right. Doug Jones.
Yep.
Doug Jones was he worked with Guillermo del Toro a lot, so he was Pan in Pan's Labyrinth, and the creepy monster who with the eyes in his hands, and he was the zombie. I think his name is Bill or something in Hocus Pocus.
Well, he's also Shape of Water. He's the fish man.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
He's
Sorry.
the creature in the shape of water. So I mean, just that performance alone, you can see, how difficult it is for an actor to do something like that. He's got to be a fantastic actor and know his body and his movements and how to make the suit work in your favor for what the emotion of the scene is that you're trying to do.
And you've met him, actually, haven't you? Spent some time with him?
I have at Comic-Con. I got to meet him and talk to him for a while. And it was great because he told me at one point, I told him I had done a monster movie myself, and he goes, "Oh, you could be my son." And I was like, I just won Comic-Con. Doug Jones thinks I'm his son. He is the nicest person in the world. He is a hugger. He loves to hug. He calls everybody puppy.
Yeah, there was
there's
a photo I've seen with you and him, and he's getting pretty handsy with you.
Oh, he's so awesome. I still talk to him. I'll send him messages sometimes, and I congratulated him on The Shape of Water, and I also congratulated him when Doug Jones won the Senate race in Alabama.
Yeah.
He was getting a lot of hate mail and fan mail for that. Everybody was like, "I didn't know you were running for Senate." He had to explain that it wasn't him, just somebody with the same name.
Yeah.
But he's also in the new Star Trek show, Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
Playing an alien, of course.
Is that a consistent role that he's playing, or is it?
Yes, he's one of the main cast.
Oh, cool.
Too bad it sucks.
Oh, you don't like it?
No.
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it.
No, I'm a big Star Trek guy. And it sucks.
Oh yeah, he's a Star Wars guy.
Star Trek.
Oh,
Who's a Star Wars guy?
You're a Star Wars.
No, I'm
guy.
a Star Trek guy.
No, are you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, so am I.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we're all in agreement. But you just said you hate this show.
Well, the show sucks.
Okay. As I've said before, my favorite thing to say on the show sometimes is to each his own, because sometimes they just don't agree with me. And I can't.
Well, I'll tell Doug all about your opinion of the show, and you'll probably be
Well,
the first
he
person
doesn't
he gets
suck.
angry at.
He doesn't suck. He played what's the name in Hellboy?
Yeah.
Yes, he was Abe Sapien.
He actually
in Hellboy.
spoke. He actually spoke in that role.
In the second one.
Oh, he wasn't the first. He wasn't the.
No, in the first one, he is the body of Abe Sapien in both of them. But in the first one, it's David Hyde Pierce. And
Yeah, that's
after
right.
The
I remember
first
that.
movie was done, David Hyde Pierce watched the performance and was like, "Why am I doing the voice? Why are you not just letting Doug do the voice?" And so they
That is kind of strange.
had him do the voice.
especially paying an extra person.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't just have you be the one getting shut down by the jail gate.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he's already in picture. I mean, just go get him. You know, one thing I love practical effects, and I think it really adds to a movie, especially like when you say Del Toro guy. He does a fantastic job. His whole team does a fantastic job of getting you into the world. Even if he uses practical effects and CGI. When you're on set, is it amazing to you that you have the suit on, but then when you see the finished product, you're like, oh wow, like that looks like I want to kill these kids. And
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
and it kind of continues to amaze because they didn't do any CGI in your movie, right? Or did they do a little bit?
There was a little
they
bit at
would
the
do
end there. I
some-
saw little bit at the end.
Yeah. I don't want to give any spoilers
No, I don't wanna
away,
either.
but there are
Well-
definitely some gory scenes towards the end that required some special effects.
Well, I'm just looking at the picture of you, and you look great. And I'm like, why would you ever
Oh,
want
thank
to?
you.
Why would you? The only thing I guess you could correct would be the lighting, but that's it. But
Yeah, and then you've got some physical things that are impractical to do on set, especially if your monster is supposed to, move in a monster way, or something's supposed to happen to the monster that you couldn't do with a human. So then you just get some incredible effects.
should they come over to
workers
you and be like, Brad, do you think you can jump 8 feet into the air?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you do that? Can we do that,
I
please?
did. There was one stunt that I was able to do. At one point I'm hanging upside down.
Yes, I was going to
chain.
ask you. Yes, if that was you or not.
Yeah, and so they just kept checking on me to make sure the blood wasn't rushing to my head. But I wanted to prove myself that I could do a stunt. So I kept, no, let's do another take. Let's do another take.
What's on the horizon for you?
I'm trying to get into voiceover at this point. So I would love to do more voiceover. I'm trying to work with a coach, a guy named Sam Riegel, who is a voice actor. He was a Ninja Turtle at one point. He played Donatello in the show. He works on a lot of Disney shows too. Like he works on the new DuckTales, things like that. So I'd like to follow up with that. And as far as the creature acting goes, I plan on talking with Doug Jones about possibly mentoring me and giving me some advice. I'm letting him enjoy the awards season right now because he deserves it. Shape of Water is probably my favorite movie.
You should ask him to be on this show.
I will bring it up.
As Pan. That's what I want. I want it
Yeah.
as
Well, he can
Pan, so
only
we all get
speak-
creeped
he can only
out.
speak Spanish then. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, actually, that's one thing. If I remember correctly, when that movie came out, he didn't know Spanish, and so something about him being on set, no one knew what was going. Like it was really big directing because the main creature didn't know what was going on.
So, do you have any really cool celebrity stories since you're living out in Hollywood now? You must, run across them all the time. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind that would be kind of funny that you could share?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you my first experience seeing a celebrity was embarrassing on my part. You kind of have to learn. But I was at a Whole Foods, and we heard rumors that in the Whole Foods was Zach Galifianakis. So
It doesn't look like he shops there, but
in LA, it's a prestige thing. You have to shop at Whole Foods.
Okay.
It's so we're looking around, and I see Zach Galifianakis. He's got kind of a hoodie on, and he's down one of the aisles. And without even thinking, I'm like, "There he is!" and just point at him. And he looks up and sees me, and kind of puts his hoodie up and shuffles away. So I've gotten better.
So
about
you're
it.
that
I ran
guy.
into about a month ago. I ran into Eric Idle at an art gallery.
Cool.
So that was really cool. I saw him, and I very, calmly walked up to him and just quietly was like, "Oh, Mr. Idle," and he turned and looked at me, and I held my hand out to shake his hand. I was like, "Oh, I'm just a fan. I just wanted to say hello," and he was very nice. He was like, "Oh, yes, nice to meet you," and he had the best way of getting away from a fan. It was very polite, and it was smooth and seamless. He just started walking down the hallway pointing at pieces of art, like, "Oh, isn't this art wonderful?" And like he's just getting quieter and quieter as he's walking away, kind of like trying to have a conversation, but get out of the conversation at the same time. So
we got just a few minutes left, but so tell me about Starship Apocalypse. Is that we showed a photo earlier? That's where you're in the alien costume.
That's the one, yes.
Okay.
So that one was a little more difficult because that costume wasn't made for me. They made that costume, and I had to be very careful. If you look at the hands on the creature, the fingers are extremely long. They're probably about at least a finger longer than where my finger is. Probably longer than that. So since it's made of rubber, the more I move, it would shake like rubber. So I had to be very careful and precise in my movements to make sure that that didn't come across, that you couldn't tell it was a rubber suit in the creature. And that was an interesting one because that was a lot more CGI, not necessarily for me as the creature, but for the world, because we're on an alien planet at the time. So there's a big green screen all around me, and we're having to look around and pretend like we see this desert landscape, and it was a different experience. It was a lot of fun getting to work with those people and doing a sci-fi movie like that. But it definitely had its own challenges too. Of like I said, my main goal in that was to make sure that you couldn't tell it was just somebody in a suit.
Yeah, that's got to be incredibly hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So where can we see that movie and some of the other ones? Because we want folks to see it if they're able to.
Right. iTunes, best place to go.
Okay.
For those kind of movies, iTunes and Amazon. You can buy Starship Apocalypse on Amazon, I believe.
Yeah, one thing that helps out is you can find yourself on IMDb, and you can actually see all the stuff you've been in, and you click on that movie, and at the top it will say where it's available.
Oh,
if you're really curious, because I'm already kind of checking that out.
I just learned something.
So, but I think I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with seeing these pictures and seeing you. It's kind of weird to see that's you, and I think
it's a lot of fun. I mean, it takes a certain mentality to do it because you have to know in going, people aren't going to know I'm in this movie. Like nobody's going to stop me on the street and be like, "Oh, you were the creature in Big Bad." So as an actor, all actors have ego. You have to come to that realization that I'm doing it for the fun of acting and for the joy of making a movie and being having something I can be proud of.
And the money.
Oh, one day, yes. I'll be able to say that.
Oh,
but
man.
It's great. I mean, I get to work with a bunch of creative people and all these great directors and the other actors. And it's just a fun experience and something. Even if I never do it again, I can show pictures to I have a 4-year-old son. I can show pictures to my son and be like, "Here's Daddy as a monster,"
At 4 years old, and now he has
That's
nightmares
right.
for the rest of
Well,
his
he
life.
loves to show troll hunters, so I can be like, maybe I'm a troll.
Oh yeah. Those things in your nightmares? That's your dad.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh.
When I like to sleep under his bed.
Oh wow. Well, Brad, man, I missed you so much, man. I wish we could get together sometime. It's just a time not a time difference. It's a big distance.
There's a time difference.
So there's a time
There's a
difference.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of differences.
A lot, but I just want you to remember where you got your start.
Oh, of course. It is all thanks to Chris.
I'm kidding.
That the musical review we mentioned earlier was because I saw Chris acting and singing in community theater.
And he was so
high
horrified by that he said, "Oh, I've got to step in.
like,
I gotta help out."
If Chris can do it,
Yeah, exactly.
that's wonderful. We'll tell everybody you're on IMDb, so people can check out all the stuff you've been in, and especially the creatures, which is kind of cool because that's where you're on. Is it? Sorry, I just went blank. Is it Big Bad?
Big Bad.
You're
Big Bad.
credited as the creature. So
That's right.
so you can find Brad on the IMDb. Just look up Big Bad, and you'll see it right there. You're like I think 6th in the row of the actors, and it shows you all the other movies. I'm definitely gonna check out anything with space. So I'm really excited about
Well, you
those
can
movies.
check out YouTube has the Night of the Living Trekkies preview.
Yes, I saw that. Is that out to where we can see it, the full thing, or?
Well, it was always only meant to be a trailer because it's a book.
Okay.
It was a trailer for a book. So
Right.
They haven't made a movie out of it yet, but
Nope.
hopefully I'll have an in if they ever do decide to do it.
Opie is so funny in that trailer. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
He
yes.
plays the Klingon.
Oh, I thought that was the new Star Trek.
Yeah, it should be.
So
It should be.
It was directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, then I'm out. I'm out. I'm not a huge fan of his. We've gone over this on many shows, but
oh, great. Here we go.
but Brad, man, thank you so much for,
Oh no, it was
for being
an
with
absolute
us
pleasure.
today.
I was excited that you asked me to be on the show. You guys have a great podcast and a chance to talk to my old friend Chris. So
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
See you, Brad.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. This special broadcast for the Ticket Stub podcast. Just to remind everybody, we give away 2 free tickets to the Grand Theater every week on Thursdays at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio. And we're going to be closing up this right now. Chris, we'll see you Thursday.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for checking out this production of Lone Star Community Radio. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station. Don't forget to check out this show and many others across the Lone Star Community Radio Network, either live on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, the Lone Star Internet Radio app, or irlonestar.com's live audio stream, and on replay on podcast, Channel 12's Our City TV in Conroe, or Channel 21 KVQT in Houston, and of course their YouTube channel. This production is copyrighted and all rights are reserved by Lone Star Community Radio. Have a question regarding this program or other Lone Star Community Radio shows? Want to sponsor or start your own show? Call the station message line at 936-647-3776 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.